So, Rajeev, tell us about watercolor postcards. Any stories you can think of that were inspiring when you were done with the production of the film?
Sure. There were a lot of inspiring stories in Watercolor Postcards. There were just moments when everything came together, and especially on tough days when just things really, it was magical, and I think that's when you make a movie, you're looking for those magic moments when everybody's hair is standing on end on set. One of the key ones is during this big funeral scene at the end of the movie. We wanted to shoot at a very particular time of day during sunset, and any filmmaker knows that shooting at sunset, and we did a lot of sunset shooting on this movie, is tough because you're basically racing the sun. You're trying to get all your elements together and then shoot what you need to shoot before the sun goes down. And we're shooting on this hill, and the sun is setting, and we have 40 extras and a horse and a casket and 3 cameras running, including a Steadicam. All these moving elements, we get them all into place, and I think we have literally 6 minutes before that sun dips over the horizon line and over the edge of the hill, and we're not going to get the shot. And our producer Rhett is racing around and panicked, and he's like, Rajeev, do we, can we go? Can we shoot this? And I was like, calm, Rhett, calm. We're almost there. Just get it all in place. And he's very worried we're not going to get it. And I'm just trying to assure him it's going to be fine, even though in my head I'm like, I hope we get this. And finally we got it. All our elements are set. We start shooting, and it's a continuous take. It's 3 minutes of Laura singing live on camera, not a pre-recorded song, just beautiful, pouring her heart out, probably the most intense moment in the movie. And it was just incredible. Just 3 minutes of just watching her sing and everyone else basically in tears listening to it as the sun, the sunset is right on the rise, shining on her and all the actors. And then, as the sun's kind of going over the crest and disappearing, I look over and Rhett, I'm just like, we got it. We got this magic moment that if we had shot 6 minutes later, we wouldn't have gotten. And it was amazing. It was one of the best moments in the movie. Another really inspiring scene, just because it was just so powerful, was the scene when Butch professes his love to Sonny. And it's after a really intense scene prior to that of overdosing and all this very kind of crazy stuff. And then we have this very tender but painful scene when they're trying to figure out what they are to each other. And those kind of intimate scenes of emotion are very difficult because you want to shoot it a lot of times, you want to get the emotion out, but it's very taxing on the actors, and they get tired, and it's hard to keep bringing it. But we did it again and again, and at some point I think some honesty just broke through both of their shells. Not that they weren't doing it before, but there's a moment when we could tell that after having shot for so many days with this crew, that Conrad, it's like something broke through his skin, and he was professing his love of all that we had gone through, and it was pouring out onto Laura, our actress. And both cameras were running on both the actors, and you could see his love and you could see her taking it in a way that we'd never seen up until that moment in the whole movie. And it was amazing. It was just really, it's moments you live for when you make movies, and it was really great.
Talk about the cast. So you've had Conrad Goody, who is the writer of the film. You also have Laura Bell Bundy, who is a phenomenal singer, very dynamic actress, has a theater background. And then you have young Bailey Madison, which, she blows everybody out of the water. And then, of course, you have John McGinley, Jonathan Banks. Can you talk a little bit about the relationship and how they work throughout the film?
Sure, absolutely. The cast in this film was amazing. Really, the town of Ben Arrow in this film is meant to be a character in and of itself. And one of the real challenges in that is that you need characters and people that define that town. These very unique characters define what it is to be and why they want to live there and who they are. And our cast really exemplified, they really brought to the table very unique characters. What's tricky about films is that you need to have characters that are unique. They can't just be generic. You want them to feel like real people, and in this case we had an amazing cast.
So tell us about any of the challenges that you encountered when filming this.
Sure. This was a very challenging movie to make in a lot of different ways. We had a very tight schedule, as is all independent films require a level of just dealing with the budget, dealing with time, and we had to shoot a lot every day, and we really had to just make it happen. On top of that, we had a lot of scenes that were very difficult. We had a scene at a picnic that involved 60 extras and horses and dogs. Then we had a lot of children, and we had limited shooting hours, night shooting, sunset shooting. All these things required a lot of it wasn't just a straightforward shooting two people talking. We had to make these elements work, and we had to really just sell them. One of the toughest nights we had was shooting out in Barstow in the middle of the desert, these two little houses right on the edge of a huge desert plain, and it was a night. It was frigid outside, and it was a rain scene. So two characters had to run into the rain and go to someone who'd been kicked by a horse lying there on the ground. And so, we turn on our giant rain machine, so frigid cold water's falling on two actresses, our young Bailey Madison and Laura Bell Bundy, running out into the rain, soaked through in their pajamas, and just like they're acting. And we have giant coats on, which are rain, and they're in basically very little and just trying to act their hearts out. And they did great. But it's very tough. I mean, 5 takes in, they're shivering. Between every take, we're running them to a shower, with hot water running to make sure they're, staying warm. And it's tough. But, part of the love and the challenge of movie making is getting through these tough things, but then later having this amazing footage that resulted from a tough challenge like that, where you have a horse bucking in the rain and actresses and a guy on the ground and stunt people and cameras that are covered in plastic because you don't want to get them wet. It's tough, but it's great. I think what's amazing is when you watch the movie, you're not aware of these challenges. All you know is that you're watching a world that's been built and works, and that's what I love, is seeing it work.